Howdy, friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of Disventure Camp Predictions. Today, we're gonna, I guess, analyze where everyone is gonna last. Now, I was clearly not right here. Very clearly, this was not the people that went in episode 7, and I got this one right, but that was kind of on accident, I feel. I wasn't expecting it, even though I did expect it in the previous tier list. Now, all of these are still unconfirmed, but I guess if we were to fix it, these two would go to Limbo, and all of these guys would go here. Now, let's go suss it out. Why don't we? Also, let's put you back here. I did a quick rewatch of the entire series up until now, all 8 episodes, and I've noticed a few things that I feel like a lot of people haven't put a lot of focus on, and so much so that I actually made an edit chart of the characters. Now, if you don't know what edit is, it's a combination of edit and logic. It's really a way that you can really suss out the winners in various reality shows like Survivor and Big Brother. It's really by noticing which characters have had a lot more focus in the narrative of the story versus the characters that are kind of in the background. Obviously, when you want to edit a winner, whether it's a fictional or real life show, you kind of want to give focus to the winner. Of course, you want to put them in a positive light. You want to give them a edit that reminds viewers that they're relevant to the story, and just, really explain and justify why they were chosen to be the winner, basically. So with that in mind, I think that by analyzing Edgic, I am pretty much able to narrow down the winner circle. I know who's not winning, that's for sure. Now, that being said, I'm Kai's voice actor. Yo, dudes, what's up? Oh, yes, I do, you miserable piece of I do not have the spoilers. Either I'm not in the episodes, or I am in the episodes, but I only read the Kai lines, which is true, because I do only read the Kai lines. Sometimes things will happen, I'm like, wait, what? That was in the script this whole time? I just didn't read it? So, yeah. But as of right now, we are in the final 7 because Carol returned, and today we're going to talk about where I think they're going to rank. So, episode 9, I think episode 9 will be a single elimination episode. I think we're only losing one character, and the character I think we're losing is Allie. The reason I say this is because Allie, by far, has the least amount of screen time. I feel like, at least with Hunter, he has sort of a strategic mindset in the first few episodes, and he does have interactions with Tess, with Allie, and with Yule. I feel like that's a lot more to go off of than Allie, who really only ever interacted with Hunter, Tess, and Connor. And by the way, Connor, that was like one episode as well. That was the first episode. I feel like Allie is super reliant on her dynamic with Hunter that I can't see her outlasting him. I think him outlasting her is more reasonable. I think in the recent episode he did talk to, off-screen he talked to Carol. He did briefly share a moment with Rosa Maria, and Lake. He did do that one challenge with Lake as well. Allie, by comparison, is very codependent on Hunter as a character, so that's why I can't see her outlasting him. She's also someone who I've noticed has the least amount of complexity. She has gotten a little bit in the recent episodes, but for the most part, she's super simple as a character, and I don't really see any universe where she outlasts Hunter. Like, maybe it could happen where Hunter goes and she starts becoming a bit more complex, but we only have 4 episodes to go. There's not a lot of room for that anymore. So that in mind, I think that Allie, as our 7th placer, is the most likely thing to happen. I also think that out of all the stories, the Hunter story, the Hunter Allie Tess story, was the one that got the least amount of focus. As I said in the previous predictions episode, there are 4 stories. There was Lake, Rosa Maria, Rhea, and Lake, Hunter, Tess, and Allie, and James and Aiden. And I think that by Tess going in episode 7, that really was a way to say, okay, look, Hunter, Tess, and Allie, they're not as important as these other narratives, so please, don't give them too much thought. So, with Allie going in 7th place, I think that that's the perfect conclusion to the storyline. I think Hunter could vibe as a character on his own for another episode or 2, but for the most part, Allie is just so dependent on that dynamic that she's the only one who I can see going. I think the others need another episode to breathe to really reach their full potential. So yeah, I'm sorry, any Allie fans out there, but I don't know. She just doesn't have a lot of focus outside of her dynamics with 1 or 2 people. That being said, the next episode, I can see it being the big episode where Aiden and Carol will go home. Now, I actually had this originally in episode 9, but then some people told me, wait a sec, they're gonna bring Carol back and boot her immediately. That's kind of weird. And I know they did that with Eva in Total Drama Island, but I feel like the Disventure camp writers are a bit more complex than that. And I also feel that you kind of need another episode or 2 to really simmer down the dynamics between James, Aiden, and Carol. I think that Carol is brought into the game to separate the two. Maybe Jay and Aiden, James and Aiden, they get together, but then Carol splits them up. I don't mean relationship-wise, I mean in the game. Carol rallies votes against them, and one or two of them go home. I can see it being like a 3-3 tie, and Crystal is too lazy to create a tiebreaker, so she just eliminates both Aiden and Carol. I don't know, but I think Aiden, the way he's being edited right now, really reminds me of a red herring. I think that it's like we're gonna give him a lot of focus. We're gonna give him all the dynamics and all the potential, but in the end, he doesn't end up winning. He ends up being someone who's like, oh my god, he got eliminated. Are you serious? Because he's been kind of the narrator of the season. We always see confessionals about him. We see a lot of them where he discusses the way things are going, the way his dynamics are, his mindset when it comes to the votes. I think Aiden is low-key the narrator of the season. I don't see him winning because it's a little too obvious, I feel. I feel like in the previous episode I said that, Aiden is a shoo-in to be in the finale, but now I'm not so sure. Now I'm wondering, because they did get rid of Lake halfway through, well, I wouldn't say halfway through her arc, but I would say that they were building her up so much. Her story did conclude in episodes 6 and 7, but then they cut her loose in episode 8, which was a big surprise, just because I was so sure she was guaranteed a little farther after episode 7, right? Which is funny, because in episode 6, I was like, oh, Lake is episode 8. So the fact that she actually did turn out in episode 8 after episode 7, which is when I was like, no, there's no way she's going home early, was amazingly subversive. And I think Aiden will be the same. I think Aiden is our red herring candidate at the moment, and when he goes, the fandom will go crazy. I think we will get closure on the Jaden storyline in episode 10, but at the moment, I don't really see a universe where he doesn't make it through. I think this Odd Nation cartoons are very good at planting red herrings and little subversions that losing Aiden in episode 10 would be amazingly shocking. Now, as for Carol, I don't think she's gonna win. I think that returning so late in the game is kind of weird. I think that would be controversial if she even made Final 2. I don't think she has too many storylines other than with Aiden and James. But at the moment, that's where I see Carol going. I see her going in the same episode that she gets rid of one of James or Aiden. I can see Carol being eliminated as well. Because, I mean, we do need 2 double eliminations, unless they want to do a Final 3 for the finale, just like World Tour, but I don't know. I don't know if they want to do that. Episode 11, I can see episode 11 being another double boot episode, unless they want to go Final 3. I think we're losing Hunter in this episode. I think that Hunter can probably survive one or 2 episodes without Ali, but I think that I can see him going kind of rogue in episode 10, where he's like, okay, look, I need to win these challenges, I need to win for Tess and Ali. By the way, Evil Hunter theory is deconfirmed, unfortunately. As fun and goofy as it sounds, it's deconfirmed, so I don't think it's happening anymore, sadly. It's definitely not happening anymore. But yeah, Hunter, he's also someone who's very, I guess, simplistic as of, in the first 3 episodes, he was very complex. He was always talking about strategy and how he wanted to win and all the little tips and tricks he was going to do. But then, for a long streak of episodes, he just sort of became very simple as a character, which is a darn shame. I think, the second he got the girls, that's when he started kind of just wanting to play video games all day instead of, strategizing, I guess. But in episode 11, I think that Hunter is once Ali goes, he's going to start being, okay, now I have to take this seriously. I got to win this game now. And I can see him going, because he doesn't really have much say. Once Ali is gone, he kind of loses all necessary means to be in the narrative. I mean, I guess maybe you could have said something, maybe Hunter and Lake could have been a fun dynamic, but Lake's gone, so that's not happening. Yeah, I can see him being the 4th placer. Maybe he loses the challenge. Everyone's like, okay, Hunter's a big threat. He's trying so hard to win. Let's just cut him loose. I can see that happening. Hunter is probably not the winner, because just like Ali, he has not received a lot of focus in the last 5 episodes, and I think it's far too late to really bring it back to go back to the Hunter we saw in the first 3 episodes. The first 3 episodes, I would say Hunter was a front runner, but now it's like, okay, I think he's done now. Now, it's really hard to say, but I think regardless of if it's a Final 3 or if it's a double elimination episode 11, I think Rhea is our 3rd placer. I think Rhea is being built up as this big antagonistic force. Maybe not like a big villain, but definitely someone who is insecure about her friendship with Rosa Maria, that she will be a bit more cunning and devious, when it comes to the idol. Rhea can definitely be someone who, maybe not, okay, antagonist is the wrong word, like an anti-hero, who is someone that just has different motives that may not necessarily be the nicest thing in the world, but she's definitely not a villain either. And I can see it being kind of like Karma from Rosa Maria. Hey, look, Lake would have been here if it wasn't for you, so I'm sorry. Or something like that. Or maybe it's James wins the final immunity, or whatever, the second final immunity, and it was like, Look here, I will vote for you, Rhea. You are more threatening than Rosa Maria. Or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think Rhea is definitely a third placer. And this is shocking. This is shocking because that leaves us with Rosa Maria and James. Let's talk about Rosa Maria first. I think Rosa Maria is our winner. And I know that's like, what? How is she the winner? She's so under-edited. She's so underutilized. Like, we barely know anything about her. But I think that's precisely why. I think it's weird dissonance that the writers maybe are hoping that we empathize with her teen story a bit more fluidly than what's actually happening. And she's also just the least memeable character. But remember, the boot order was decided before the fan perception, so they couldn't possibly know how loved Aiden and James and Hunter and all these characters are, right? Rosa Maria, by contrast, after watching the first 8 episodes, she has a surprising amount of screen time and focus in the narrative. We are always seeing confessionals in a positive light about how much she's a good person, whether it's Kai complimenting her, or her going against Yule, who's the big obvious villain, or just being a nice person to Maggie and Lake and Rhea, and just being very supportive. And it's like, we would not be getting such level of confessionals if there wasn't a reason for it. And I think the reason is that the writers want to remind us that she's very relevant to the story. She's a very good person. You know, she's a teen mom, so she has struggles, and it gives me a lot of win equity on her part. Like, she just has a lot of focus in times where she doesn't need a lot of focus. And now that she has the idol, I'm wondering if that's gonna, if anything good is gonna happen from that. Because people who usually get the idol in total drama, they don't usually end up winning. But Rosa Maria, it's a little different. Maybe it's a subversion. Maybe it's like, she's the winner. I don't know. Like, out of all the characters, dare I say she might get the most focus. She's not the most prominent in the fan base. Like, I don't think there are a lot of memes or even a lot of Rosa Maria fans, but I think it's actually fairly likely that she wins out. Because, like, just the way the story is being told and the way the text is being edited and the way that the scripts are, showing each character little by little, Rosa Maria has, weirdly enough, one of the most positive and incorporated storylines. And I think that's really weird because, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are like, we barely know anything about her. And yeah, that's true. We do barely know anything about her. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. That's the way I see it. As for who the runner-up would be, I think the runner-up is James. I think James he's definitely a fan favorite at the moment, which is crazy because I don't know. I thought people were a little turned off by him, but it turns out that as of recently, he's been this super iconic character, maybe the most iconic character out of the whole cast. He was a pretty complex villain in the first 3-4 episodes, but after episode 5, he kind of had this redemption arc, poisoning Yule with a mushroom. But then, in episodes 6, 7, and 8, he's just kind of comic relief. He doesn't have a lot of screen time anymore. He hasn't had a lot of confessionals. He hasn't had a lot of... you haven't seen a lot of his perspective talking about his dynamic with Aiden. I think that James is someone who, you look at and you go, I want him to win, but at the same time, I don't think he can win. I think he's getting more of a runner-up portrayal than a winner portrayal, because we don't see a lot of him, and whenever we do, it's always kind of goofy stuff. But we have to remember that he did start off as a villain, and now he's kind of comic relief anti-hero, dare I say. And I don't even think I don't even think that he was really a villain to begin with. I think he just made some goofy moves that Aiden got really cranky over. But yeah, with that in mind, I think that James will be our second placer. I think that Rosa Maria will have confrontation with Rhea, where it's like, hey, you're my friend. You'll always be my friend. But what you did with Lake was not cool, and I'm sorry. I have to vote you out, or something like that. I don't know. Whereas I think James and Rosa Maria could be a pretty interesting final two, with Rosa Maria, being so much, smaller and weaker than the big James, ends up winning the final challenge, and she wins for her daughter or whatever. So yeah, based on the way this is edited, and by the way, I'll put my Edgic chart in the description so you kind of have a better idea of what I'm talking about. This is the way I see the season playing out. I can see it being that we lose Allie in episode 9, Aiden and Carol are double boot in episode 10, Hunter and Rhea are double boot in episode 11, and the finale is Rosa Maria and James. Now, if I'm correct, then I will be amazed, because I don't think I'm correct, because these writers are very, very on their toes. They always manage to subvert my expectations. But, hey, it's just a theory. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.